everybody, and welcome to Geek Freaks, one of our special episodes where we review Game of Thrones. Today we're talking Season 8, Episode 4, The Last of the Starks. I am Frank, and I'm with Susan.
Hey, guys.
And Jonathan.
Hey, y'all.
All right, and Jonathan, what'd you think of the episode?
It was good. So not too long ago, there was an episode that was before the battle that was kind of slow, and I was down on it because I was like, this is slow. Where's all the action? We saw a lot of action, and now this is the, post-battle scenes. And so I was expecting for it to be another slow, kind of drawn-out scenario, but no, it was actually mixed in with a lot of action and good story development. At the same time, though, I'm very leery uneasy because this isn't the typical path of storytelling that we're used to, so I don't know what to expect anymore.
How so? How is it not the same path?
Like the way, I was expecting a nice, high-rising arc that comes down to a satisfying finish, and then the Night King died in 3 episodes in, or before the end. So I expected that he was going to bring the battle down to the south, pull in Cersei. Everybody all, nearly dies or does die or, defeats him, but I thought he was going to be the final battle. But
remind me of what you're saying right now, towards the end, because I got a big thing going on with Ghost. Ties in nicely with that. Okay.
I like it. All right.
What'd you think of the episode overall?
Overall, kind of surprising in a different ways how Jonathan was saying that, weren't really expecting much. Just because, they did have the long night in the previous episode. But I was not expecting one of Dany's babies to die in this episode. And it really hurt me how quickly just 1, 2, 3, bam, she's dead. Okay, now she's in the ocean.
The classic Game of Thrones thing too, where you're like, oh, he's flying good now. He's learned. He's looks like his wings starting to heal and stuff like that. She's got a smile on her face. She hasn't had a smile on her face in a while.
Life is good. Expect pain and misery.
Damn. Yeah, and then that one through the neck was rough. Yeah. It's like when you watch it back, he's like gargling when he's going down in the water,
bleeding through his throat.
Yeah, so
and you could just see like the pain in Dany's eyes, just like not another one. Like
it was so dumb for her to charge after the boats. I will go into it a little bit more, but. So dumb for her to actually just like, no, but you don't blame her. She's just like, I'll die for one of my babies at this point. She's already lost one, and she had to like re-kill it. And so there's that moment, and I was hoping she would just like Dracarys and just like start just spitting fire.
That's what I thought.
And then we'd see like the harpoons come back through the fire. It'd be kind of cool.
Yeah.
Visual, But I'm not a director. I don't know why they haven't got a hold of me. Come on, HBO. All right, let's get into the episode, guys. So last week was the big Battle of Winterfell, and this is all about the aftermath after that.
Yep.
We start off with the... and during the opening scenes, John, you caught this, like, Winterfell's in rubble. There's, like, all kinds of stuff's falling apart.
Yeah, the little mechanical intro or whatever they do,
Some of it's not quite working right. It's kind of cool, shuddering and stuff.
Yeah.
So we see this, like, big Viking-style funeral that was kind of nice. Everybody's in these big pyres. They're going to be burning the pyres. We got to, like, revisit one last time. Mormont, Theon, some of her blood riders, stuff like that. John, you had a good point. You think it was a little bit too small.
Because we had the entire Dothrakis, the Unsullied and stuff like that. So what it looked like to me, and I think we kind of went over this earlier too, is that it was only the Highborn or the elites of the warriors that were burnt like that, or at least on the spires. Maybe the rest were just in piles somewhere. But there's far too many dead out there to account for all of them on those. When they did pan out, you'd see maybe 9 or 12 or something like that of those piles, but
there was quite a bit, but I don't think there was to the degree that we saw die.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And then of course the dead that they had, did they burn those dead that the Night King brought in and stuff like that?
Yeah.
And you're thinking maybe it's Highborn. The Dothraki, it's tricky because the Dothraki are not Highborn, and yet those Dothraki that they specifically showed, one of them we all know is a Blood Rider, so it's kind of like the Kingsguard.
Yeah.
For Dothraki, so they are kind of higher end.
They would be their knights, right?
Yeah. Okay, yeah. So it's kind of tricky, I don't know. What are they? There's got to be like. It'd be funny if we're watching the front of the castle, it's these beautiful pyres like that. And then we go to the back, and it's just like this dump heap. Like, we'll get to you guys. Hold on. We'll do the fancy ones,
right? I think though the reason why there wasn't that many bodies essentially is that during the beginning of the long night there were hundreds of people killed, and when the Night King came in, raised everyone.
So they become undead?
And so when the Night King died, essentially they also died.
That is a good point.
I think though they just collapse. I don't think they shattered.
They don't crumble like the other ones?
Yeah, because I know one of them in particular, one of the Blood Rider that they made sure to show, can't remember his name, starts with a K. They did show him come back. because he was like her like right hand man at the time of the Dothraki. So,
Hmm.
but I like that idea.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, that's why I don't know.
One more thing we saw during that I thought was cool during the funeral was we did see Ghost. He's alive. He's got all kinds of scars. He's missing an ear.
Little
He's
mangled.
gone through hell and back.
Yeah.
So he's out there. All right, that feast at night is pretty somber tone. Daenerys, it's pretty sad, and then Daenerys sees Gendry walking by. He's trying to find Arya for some booty, and stops him and says, "You know, your father, Robert Baratheon, will try to kill me, and he's a betrayer and all stuff like that." And then it's not Gendry's fault. He says, "I didn't even know my dad."
Yeah.
And so she says, "Okay, well, we need a new Lord of Storm's End when I take over. Why don't I make you the Lord of Storm's End?" And so, boom, now Gendry goes from Gendry Rivers to Gendry Baratheon. And he's top dog now. He's higher than...
I like that because his response is, I can't. I'm just a bastard. I'm not even, like trueborn or whatever.
Yeah.
And she says, pretty much, that doesn't matter. I say you are what I say you are. So now you are the Lord of Storm's End. So
yeah.
So
cool. One thing that's kind of just a quick note, it's kind of a dumb little quick note. He said his name was Rivers. The reason that it's just like Jon was Snow is because he's from the north. Yeah. Rivers means he was born in the Riverlands. Technically, he actually doesn't have a last name, and it's because his dad didn't ever know of him, and he wasn't like a legitimate bastard. Like even bastards have legitimacy of being a legitimate bastard, so he doesn't have a last name. That's why Melisandre and Varys don't have last names because they're not highborn at all. So they're just it's like, hey, you're John, you're Susan, that's it. There's no last name to it. It's not
So what about Brienne of Tarth? She doesn't have a last name. She
does
have a land, right?
Yeah, I think, but you would consider of Tarth might be the last name. There is a last name to her, and it's Duncan the Tall. Yeah, so Duncan, I can't think of Duncan's last name. That's her ancestor.
Yeah.
Yeah, so there has to be a last name on that one. But yeah, that's a good point. Maybe there isn't. Maybe that's why they do the Tall and of Tarth.
Give them nobility without having a lineage.
Yeah. So then things start to kind of celebrate. And we're starting to kind of get to little shots of our heroes. So again, this is one of those times where we're going to go outside of the order of the show, just kind of like explain what's going on with everybody.
Yeah.
Davos was wondering what's going to happen with the Lord of Light. This is kind of a small one I didn't catch the first time. I caught it the next time. He had this whole thing with Melisandre, and now he's wondering like, hey, well, are we done? I mean, is he done with us? Does he not care about us anymore?
Yeah.
We were his champions, and now we're just left here. Kind of interesting to see Davos, who has this really weird relationship with this Lord of Light this whole time.
Yeah.
Doesn't trust it, seen it destroy great people, Shireen and stuff like that, and yet it saved the day. So what do you think he's going to do with that? Do you think he's going to further that religion, or is it just a way to cap off the religion in the story?
I don't know. I didn't even notice that. I didn't realize that he was asking about that.
He was talking to Tyrion about it, and it was pretty short, so I was kind of like, that could be big, or it could just be a really terrible way to shut off this religion that just saved the day one episode ago.
Yeah. Yeah,
I have to rewatch it and pay more attention.
What do you think? Do you think that he's gonna explore it and start like the new Church of the Lord of Light?
I think there's just too much stuff that they had to shut it off that fast.
Yeah.
Whereas just like, I wonder what the Lord of Light's gonna do next, and then like done. We don't need to worry about religion anymore. Yeah. And it's a huge part of the story is the religions and stuff like that. Yeah. Lord of Light existed basically to oppose the Night's King and the Great Other. Yeah. So without the Great Other, then what's going to happen?
Now, is the Lord of Light of the old gods, the seven gods?
No, it's R'hllor. It's this whole other thing. It's an Eastern Kingdoms.
So religion. We see the Lord of Light actually work, like his power. We see, of course, the Night King, but we don't see. I don't think we've seen anything. Well, the Children of the Forest, I guess. But other than that, we haven't seen anything from the old gods, right?
No, the old gods is Bran. Bran has been doing the old gods magic this whole time.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. Right. The Children of the Forest work with the old god. Those trees, all we road trees, is the old god.
That's another thing that I was really hoping this episode would reveal more about what Bran was doing during the battle or something. But it kind of just like shut off that previous battle. Like,
I think we just don't have enough episodes.
Move forward.
So they're kind of.
Come on, give me.
I don't like
season.
that. Gendry meets up with Arya, and he's all proud that he's a Baratheon now, and says like, "I'm Lord of Baratheon, and I would like for you to be my lady." And that's of course not going to go well. She passes on it and she says, "You're going to make a great lord and somebody's going to be happy to be your lady, but it's not me." She says, "That's not me."
Yeah.
That's an important line because she told Ned Stark that in season 1 because Ned Stark wanted her to be a fancy lady. And finally, she says, "That's not me." And okay, then here's sword fighting.
He understood it too.
And then when she saw Nymeria again last season, she said, "That's not you." And it was kind of a reference to, I know that you're not the kind of wolf that's going to follow me to Winterfell. You're going to do your own thing.
Yeah.
So it's just kind of been this like motto of House Arya,
Yeah.
It's kind of cool. I like that. We got Bran and Tyrion talking a little bit, talking about the struggles of being Bran and always living in the past, not really being Bran anymore.
Doesn't have his own life anymore.
And at this point, you're almost like, okay, well then what's Bran's job anymore? So he's just kind of gonna waste away. He doesn't want to be the Lord Stark of Winterfell. Yeah. He can be, but he doesn't want to.
Yeah.
So you're kind of stuck there too. And then we have
I think Bran should go to the what was that temple that Sam went to study to be a maester? Old Town? Yeah. Go there and educate everybody and teach them everything that's not in those books.
Well, we just talked about it. See, Old Town is the Seven and Bran is the Old Gods, so they almost don't believe each other.
Oh, well.
It's so dumb.
He could set them straight.
Yeah. Right? Yeah, he could prove them real quick, but it's just kind of like one of those things where it's like...
Or bridge the two. Between him and Sam, I'm pretty sure they can get along enough to communicate the difference between the two.
And maybe if we had more, we can get something out of that. But that's the whole problem, is it'd be like them coming in and then you'd be telling them the truth. Mm-hmm. And they'd be like, yeah, but your resources are a little bit flawed, so I don't know.
Like, did you guys not see this big battle?
Yeah.
It was all predicted.
Oh, that's the thing is... Yeah, there was a big battle, and there definitely must have been a maester in Winterfell that was telling them, like, there was a big battle up here. Yeah. But the rest of the guys are like, no, that one's drunk. It's not going to be corroborated. Yeah. Like, there happened to be a guy at the last hearth that died, and the one that died.
Or you think it went this way, but the gods told us it was supposedly this way, so you're wrong.
It's a whole mess, right?
Yeah.
Anyways, so then we get to Jon and his men are celebrating. This is one of those really great moments that kind of actually set the tone for the episode. And Jon, this whole time, he's always been this reluctant leader that's kind of been thrusted because he's just doing the right thing, and he's kind of got a charming attitude.
Yeah.
And so we're seeing that, like, Tormund Giantbane, who's obviously getting way too drunk, is over there like, what kind of guy gets on a dragon? A king! And stuff like that. Yeah. And so they're all celebrating him, and then he looks back at Daenerys, and Daenerys kind of gives him a soft cheer. So what we're seeing here, and it's going to be something that's echoed further down, is whether or not Jon wants to be king. If they find out that he should be king, his men will force him to be king.
Yeah.
We've seen him be forced into the Night's Watch leader. We've seen him forced into taking back Winterfell. We've seen him forced into leadership. King of the North was forced on him.
Yeah.
What do you guys think of that? Is that something that we're going to see as like the final bad problem?
I think that'll be probably like one of the last battles that we're going to see is between him choosing... I mean, he knows that he can't marry essentially his aunt.
Yeah, well, that's the thing they're talking about later on too, is Targaryens, that's not a problem, but he grew up not with those traditions, so it's going to be weird for him, yeah.
I think it'll be more of a battle within himself, maybe, than just kind of following his heart or following tradition kind of thing.
Yeah.
I feel like, we already know, the word got to Varys, so everybody will soon know that he is the rightful heir to the throne. Yeah, which is... It's a shame that this far along in the disaster that was the Iron Throne, that they still are looking at blood as what controls the power of the throne.
Well, Varys is saying that, it has to be used that way, but that's not necessarily what we need to go by.
Yeah.
Like, there are people in there that are like, we have a chance to reshape it right now.
Yeah.
So let's just kind of, that one and kick this one out and stuff like that, just kind of get the one we want up there.
Whoever's the best to serve the realm.
Might be Jon.
I think what's going to dwindle down to, because when you see the two talk... For a moment, they could be Jon and Daenerys. For a moment, they could be so like in love, and you imagine like that beautiful picture that they planted in your mind of Daenerys and Jon leading together. I think they planted that to give you a little bit of hope that that's what I'm aiming for. That's what is going to come at the end. But that's not what's going to happen. They planted that with Ned Stark of being a great ruler, and sure enough, they chopped his head off. So I think they're painting that picture, so we expect that. And then it's going to be, because you see the distrust in Daenerys. She just can't get behind... everything's going to be okay. The two of us love each other. We're going to work it out. So when they talk and there's any hesitation or any possibility that he might threaten her power, she's turning on him, kind of like just taking a step back and putting a layer of distrust between the two of them. So I'm pretty sure it's going to come down to the two of them having to battle it out.
God, I'd hate that, but it would make sense. Because with the politics now being the leading thing, that would make sense, yeah. We are down a dragon. Anyway, so Tyrion, Jaime, Pod, and I wrote Tyrion twice. Tyrion, Jaime, Pod, and Brienne. They're all having their drinking game as the same one from season 1 that Tyrion played with Shay and Bronn. And then Tyrion goes too far, joking around about Brienne having virginity, yada yada yada. So she gets up and walks out, and eventually Jaime follows her. In the process, breaks Tormund's heart.
Right.
And so I like how Tormund's crying and he's upset and he goes to confide in somebody. It's the Hound who doesn't give a shit.
Right.
And then we really see the truth of it. Torment's broken heart until some girl's like, I'm not afraid of wildlings. Like, you should be. And then it's all good now. So he's fine. And so he goes off. And then we see Sansa has a conversation with Hound, which was really kind of nice because it was that little bird moment. He's kind of protected her in the past back when she was in King's Landing. Mm-hmm. So there is a little bit of respect between the Stark girls and the Hound. I really like that. So that's cool. Mm-hmm. Then we have Dany and Jon. They end up talking alone in Jon's room. And he's, again, a little drunk. They joke around about that too. And she's asking him, can we just go back to the way things were and you just not tell anybody about your parentage?
Yeah.
Now, what do you guys think about that? Do you think that was fair?
I think that was not fair. I think she's being very selfish.
Yeah.
And the fact that Jon already knows the truth, he can't undo that because he's such a honorable guy. Like, he's such a genuinely good guy. He can't, turn the blind eye and just kind of continue the way that he's going. I really think that Dany was being very selfish in that moment of asking him to just, just keep it hush for now.
Yeah.
And he wants to tell his sisters and at least, and she's like, nope.
So I kind of understand where she's coming from, though, because she's already lost one of her dragons at this point, and most of her Unsullied. Her army is very weak. If she loses the other two dragons or the support of her people, she has nothing. She's powerless, and she doesn't want to go back to when she was a little girl under her brother, where she had no power. Ever since then, she hatched the eggs, and she's been a leader.
She's never been behind a man.
Yeah, she's never she's never been weak until this thought of Jon actually taking her throne from her.
That's a good point. I almost wonder, in losing so many men, off a weak decision to go help Jon fight the dead, if she's seeing like Jon's dangerous for me as well.
Yeah,
I don't know. There's got to be something else to it. Everything's so shallow because it's only so much farther we got in the story, so it's kind of hard, but yeah.
We can write so many spin-offs right now, though.
Oh, I know. I saw somebody tweeting about a spin-off of Torment and Ghost, like for having fun in the Wildlings North and stuff like that. Like, oh yeah, I want to see that.
We should write some in-between episodes, like comics that go in between each episode.
There you go. You find a good artist and we'll start writing.
Bam.
Okay, so that's pretty much it for that party that night. The next day, we see them all around the table. They start talking about battle plans. We see that there are still Unsullied and Dothraki left. Mm-hmm. They're just dwindled, which is good because Dany needs a force of her own. She doesn't want to rely fully on the North. She's sounding pretty aggressive, and we're seeing Tyrion kind of remind her, like, you need to slow down a little bit. Mm-hmm. That becomes another theme of this episode. Do you guys think Dany's going too far in all this? Like, could we be getting... Okay, so I'll spill the beans right now. Do you think we're going Mad Queen?
I think so. Only... At first, I didn't think that. I mean, she does burn people alive when needed.
I really don't want that to be the case. It seems so lazy.
But when you see the fact that, like, we see her love with Jon, and that seems so pure, but then that distrust comes around, and she kind of has that, like, that sinister core that I think she probably didn't have to start with, but power turned her that way.
Yeah.
So I think, like, in losing her child, her other dragon, I mean, you see that kind of insanity come out in her.
Which is what happened to Cersei. When she loses children, she gets more and more crazy.
Yeah. So imagine if Drogon...
One more that goes is going to be...
Yeah. If Drogon dies, what's she going to... She's going to have absolutely nothing to lose. She's going to send her armies into their death and go and, to die behind them or something.
Yeah,
like she'll have nothing to live for if she loses Drogon. Yeah. So I don't know.
So here's my thing: is it's pretty clear early on in the books they talk about how when a Targaryen is born, they say the gods flip a coin. Mm-hmm. Either they'll be a great leader or insane leader. Yeah. And so this whole time she's had the insane leader around her, Viserion or Viserys, her brother. Yeah. And it's always been in rumors that Rhaegal was the great leader. So there's been one in each of her family. Her father was insane. Jaehaerys the Wise is great. There's always been back and forth. Yeah. And everything she's done portrays her as a great leader. Yeah. But it's hard because you look back and you're like, okay, is she a great leader or is she a great conqueror? Yeah, because she doesn't run Meereen well.
Her dad effectively got the throne, just like she's effectively right. Like
it wasn't her dad. It was farther back. Okay. Aegon the First got the throne.
But I mean, like the Mad King was a king for some time before everybody died and he got stabbed in the back, right? So.
Right. But it wasn't that he was a great king. The whole time he was an ass. Because you start hearing whispers pretty quick and you start losing it. Yeah. Which that's a whole other theory I'd love to get into with the brand and everything. So yeah, that's our problem is we don't know. If you look back and you think of Meereen, that was the one time we saw her actually try to rule, which George R. R. Martin has talked about that. That was just kind of a pause for her because we weren't ready for her yet, so we needed to go do something. Mm-hmm. But when she ran Meereen, she had usurpers trying to take over her crown. She shut the fighting pit, then opened the fighting pit. She shut down, it was a terrible industry, the slavery industry, but it was keeping that whole city alive. Mm. when she left cities behind her, they got taken over by slave traders again. So she might just be good at battling. She might not be good at leading.
Like you're saying, she's a conqueror. I mean, she started with the Dothraki. That's where she learned her only skills and tactics.
That's a good way to go. Is when your armed forces are Dothraki and Unsullied, you're a warlord. I mean, that's what it is. You don't have a lot of peaceful people. You have Unsullied and Dothraki.
Do you think there's a chance? I don't see that happening. But you think there's a chance that we'll find that she's the villain in the very end, and Jon has to side with Cersei to help?
I don't think side with Cersei.
No.
But I do think we'll get it. Well, let's talk about it. Let's keep going a little bit because I think there might be something that's very sad coming up that we might get. That's it's starting to make too much sense, and I don't like it. But anyways, we'll get to it. Okay. So Tyrion's starting to slow her down a little bit. Sansa's saying that the soldiers are tired. We need to rest for a little bit. Daenerys blows up on that. She's like, "No, I've saved the North. You're saving me now."
Yeah.
What did you think?
I think.
Just bullshit.
She says it's time to pay up. You can't just take a rest.
It was very irrational.
Yeah.
How are you going to send an army that's half healed to kill another?
Even Rhaegal still needs healing.
Right?
Yeah. So, and then we see Jon and Tyrion are both saying like, why don't we just siege? Because this is what this is what the typical tactic would be when you don't have dragons. You siege the castle, you block off the waterways, you starve the citizens until they overthrow their leader. That's kind of like the go-to. Okay, well, let's just do what always works.
Yeah.
And they didn't. What the very few times it doesn't work was like the Onion Knight, when Davos actually got his name because he helped out Storm's End by sneaking in onions.
Yeah.
Stuff like that. But normally that's the way you go. And that's a smart move. And she doesn't want to do that. She wants to go in with fire and blaze and break a hole through the front doors. So we got that. And then, so Dany's not very happy and nobody's really happy about this. And then right away when everybody's leaving, Jon kind of did side with Dany like, no, we'll do what you want to do.
Yeah.
Then it's family meeting time. Sansa and Arya are like, no, we need to talk.
Yeah, because he looked at Sansa, right? And then he looks back at Daenerys and says, we'll follow your lead, whatever you tell us, my queen, or something like that.
Exactly.
So he pretty much shut up his siblings and said, we're following you no matter what you say.
And I like how Arya, the youngest, whatever, shortest one, and stuff like that's kind of like, we're talking now.
She's not afraid. Not intimidated.
They go to the Weirwoods, kind of cool little family moment and stuff like that. They're discussing how you need to be like siding with us more, stuff like that. The normal things you had expected. But then Jon's torn. He says, I've never been a Stark. And they're like, yeah, you haven't ever been a Stark. You've always been a Snow. And Arya's doing the nice thing of saying, well, I don't care if you're my half-brother or you're my stepbrother or whatever it is, or bastard. You are my brother, which is a nice moment. But then Bran and him are looking at each other. And it's kind of, Bran's like, it's your choice.
Yeah.
And it was his choice. And he decides to have Bran tell him the truth.
Yeah.
I think it's a good move. What do you guys think? He had to do that, right?
Yeah,
I think it's the honorable move. That's what Ned would have done, even though it could get him beheaded. That's what Ned would have done. But
it could get him beheaded.
Yeah.
But what does this story taught us?
Does Ned regret making the right choice and losing his life, or should he have made the coward's choice or whatever and stayed alive?
Well, he just betrayed Daenerys too.
Yeah.
So that kind of is, that's kind of a tough one.
Yeah, but what she was asking him was unfair for her to ask, and an honorable man wouldn't keep a dishonorable, oath or vow.
Yeah,
that's a tough one. All right, so then we get into a scene I really like where Jaime and Tyrion, they're getting back together again. It's kind of cool little chit chats between the two of them. They're sitting there talking about Jaime and Bran, which is fun. Freaking Tyrion. Then Bronn comes in, and he was sent by Cersei to use the crossbow that killed her father by Tyrion to kill Tyrion and Jaime if they survived. They both did, so Bronn's coming in to kill him, right? Bronn's like, look, here's the deal. It was a really good scene, but to cut it short is, a long time ago, season 1 or 2, Tyrion told him, if anybody ever tells you to kill me, I'll pay you double.
Yeah.
Bronn comes in and says, your sister just offered me River Run, which means he'd be the Warden of the West, I want to say. And it's one of the best houses out there. It's where Catelyn Tully, Ned Stark's wife, that's where she's from. Mm-hmm. Really great house. So his problem is that, and Tyrion's like, well, we can give you Highgarden. Highgarden is literally the best castle out there. Better than King's Landing. It's the best.
Yeah.
The wealthiest of all the kingdoms. Now that the Castle of the Rock's out of gold, it is definitely the wealthiest of all the kingdoms. Literally, you are right up there next to the king. Like, you're the highest you can be without being the king, which I'm kind of thinking maybe Bronn should be king at this point. He's doing things right.
And I'm sure it's the biggest economic power in the Seven Kingdoms, right?
It is. Yeah. That's why they killed Lady Olenna and stuff like that. They're trying to get her gold.
That's cool.
And one thing I really liked is, while Tyrion's like, this is how you do things, Jamie's over there like, well, he's not honorable. He shouldn't get that.
He doesn't deserve High Garden. Are you kidding me?
Yeah. And then, like, Jamie, you're not on the same page, bro.
get
We're
out-
rewriting history right now.
And we just got to get out of these walls. I mean,
Yeah.
he's got a crossbow in your face. You promise him whatever you need to
He
promise
even
him.
shoots like right by Jamie's head.
Yeah. Yeah.
So one thing that Bronn says, and I kind of wanted to elaborate on, he says, well, who are your ancestors? They were all cutthroats and stuff like that. Basically, you guys came from shitheads too that just did the right thing.
Yeah.
And that's actually true because the Lannisters were formed from Lan the Clever, which was their ancestor from the Age of Heroes.
Mm-hmm.
So our Bran the Builder, who created the Winterfell and Storm's End and the Wall, which would be the first real Stark, really.
Mm-hmm.
So all of our favorite heroes, all our legends are from the same age. Lan the Clever was theirs from Lannisters. And there was a family called Casterly that owned this castle called Casterly Rock.
Mm-hmm.
And he's so shady. He sneaks in. He covers himself full of butter. Sneaks in through a crevice into the castle and starts hiding like in the attic kind of thing, right? And at night he goes to the rich family. He goes to the families, starts whispering death threats like, "I'm gonna kill you" and stuff like that. So then they think they're haunted. He's like booming his voice throughout the things at night. He's taking gold from one brother's room. He's putting it into the other brother's room to create distrust. And then one thing he does, which is terrible. Really, really bad. This is Lannister style. He sleeps with all the maids while they're asleep so that 9 months later they have mystery babies. And everybody's like, what the hell?
Wow.
So they all think the castle's haunted and they leave it. And then he's Lannisters of Casterly Rock. So that's how the Lannisters are shady. They've been shady the whole time.
That's crazy.
Yeah. So they decide to make the deal after all that. And then we get to 3, 4, all my notes. Okay. Next, we see the Hound is leaving Winterfell. He's heading on the King's Road, and Arya joins him. Mm-hmm. And they're both heading to Winterfell. I really like the two of them partnering up again. I wish we had more episodes again, but we know what the Hound's going to do. He's going to go fight Clegane.
Yeah.
He's going to go get Clegane Bolon. He's going to kill his brother, the Mountain, or Robert Strong. Mm-hmm. What do you think Arya's going to go do?
She's got more names on her list, but especially Cersei. She's got to be heading. I mean, even if she's not the one to kill Cersei, she needs to verify that she's dead and see her. But hopefully she gets to be the one to kill her.
Would you think they'd have her kill
I don't
big
think so.
bags?
She just killed the Night King. Like, all right, you're good.
2 big bags is the giant.
2 big bads.
Like
sorry.
the bad guy
sorry.
from last episode.
So what's the soldier dude that always protects Cersei? The dead guy.
That's Robert Strong. That's the Mountain. That's
So the Hound is going to kill him.
Yeah,
okay.
That's the Hound's brother.
Oh.
But she vowed that she would kill Cersei, and after everything with Joffrey and all that stuff. So it's like.
But it seems like it'd be too much for Arya to be able to take out both of them. I mean, like, she'd be MVP of the show. She already is at this point, but like that would be way too much. Then what was Jon for?
But she's pumped up just enough to have a very, very sad and disappointing death. So maybe
they both agree that they're not coming home.
Yeah.
Like this is a one-way trip.
So
which I think is fair.
Maybe that's what they're planning is she's going to go there, but she's not going to achieve that victory of killing another, villain. She'll maybe die in the process.
Maybe one will be like a decoy kind of situation, like the Hound will be like the distraction or something. Someone isn't gonna walk out alive.
The Mountain is stronger than the Hound, right?
Yeah.
But not if he sees Arya get cut down in front of him.
Oh, and he rages out?
Yep, I could see that happening.
Oh, man, I hope not.
I could see she goes in to kill Cersei, but the Mountain is right there, cuts her down in plain sight. Cersei gets pulled out of the room or something like that, and then it's the two of them, and he's just outraged and just completely kills him out.
I'm thinking like she jumps in at Cersei like she did with the Night King.
Yeah.
Mountain comes up, grabs her.
Yeah.
And then like he's like also the face of death, and he says today, and then crushes her or something like that. God. Right, guys. Dan and Dave, you guys are awesome.
Yeah.
So then later on, we're seeing that Rhaegal's starting to fly. He had that big hole in his wing, but he's kind of like lopsided, but he's getting there. So props to Rhaegal. And Sansa and Tyrion are watching this, and they start talking about their relationship with Daenerys. It's always been shaky. Sansa then tells Tyrion what she knows about Jon.
Yeah, that was
I think. What do you think?
I think that was a mistake, but at the same time, that's her trying to manipulate the game.
I think it's smart.
Yeah,
because what Sansa's basically trying to say is that she wants Jon to be the king, because then she's going to be the one of the North. Yeah, like it's real easy for her. She's learned from the best. She is easily the smartest player in the game right now.
Yeah.
So I think this was all strategic. She knows that Tyrion's going to tell Varys, and Varys will tell everybody else.
But if she keeps it quiet, Jon keeps it quiet, his life is safe. He can serve the queen and be happy with her for the rest of his days. If she lets it out, you could assume that everybody else, the other 3 or 4 people that know about it, could keep it quiet, possibly.
Yeah, and then Arya would tell anybody. Brand's not going to tell anybody.
Yeah, and then it could maybe just stay under wraps. Sam knows too, right?
Sam probably wouldn't tell. Oh, we find out that Gilly's pregnant, by the way. That's pretty cool. Yeah. Which I think we could kind of tell. But not to be mean.
But yeah, so I think I mean, it had to come out. It's a big part of the story. It's going to have to be told. But I think that was kind of selfish of her because her brother could have been happy in the way things went.
I think she's just playing the game like old school style. I think she's still doing the Game of Thrones, literally.
Yeah. And she's afraid to lose her brother to this queen and lose power because the queen...
I think it might be more, she's afraid of losing power.
Yeah.
I think she's working that angle too much. She knows that she'll be Warden of the North if he's king because then he won't be part of the North anymore.
Who's to say she wouldn't be Warden of the North if he's not king?
Right now the situation is he goes helps her take the throne and then he comes back home. And then even Tyrion's like, well, yeah, but he won't be home much and you're going to be the real power of the throne. So all this like metaphor power, like you'll be the power that nobody knows is actually officially power, but you'll be the real power like Littlefinger was.
Yeah.
She doesn't want that. She wants her name on the side of the wall. Like it's her tower,
Yeah.
So
that's crazy.
Yeah. I know, but she's just playing that game too long. Then we get to Tormund and the Wildlings are heading back north, which is cool. This is our last time we're going to be seeing the Wildlings, basically. Well, we assume so, because there's only 2 more. They've been a really cool part of the story. I really like the idea that Jon brought them down and it showed, like, don't judge a book by its covers, basically.
Yeah.
The Wildlings have been really amazing.
They're not going north of the wall, though, right? They're staying at the wall?
They're going to stay at the wall until the winter passes, and they're going to keep going.
Oh, okay, that's what it was, yeah.
They were even saying, like, we need room to wander, so they just want to go north, so that's pretty cool. And then he even says, like, you have a bit of the north, the real north in you, so it's just a cool brotherhood thing.
Yeah.
And then we see Sam saying goodbye in the same moment. Him and Gilly, I think they're going to go back to Old Town is the idea. Mm-hmm. They got to return their books. And we find out Gilly's pregnant. One thing that I think is kind of interesting is I think this is the last day of filming for those characters. So the goodbyes are actual goodbyes. Yeah. And so like when you see him talking to Tormund, you see like that's affecting him. He's actually sad to see Tormund go. So these are actually like real goodbyes.
See, I was wondering when you see Jon, you see so much emotion in his face. Yeah. I wonder if it's because he's missing him or if he realizes this is his last like crossroads where if he goes with him, he could just go and be a free man and live on his own, or he's going to go and he's going to be, splitting between his family and his, queen and this whole drama that's probably going to get him killed realistically. And, he knows that this is my out. Yeah, this is my last chance to just go be free. But
my question is, why didn't they stay with Jon to fight Cersei?
That's not their fight. That's the thing is they fought the Night's King because the Night King was coming after them. That's why they wanted to get south of the wall. And they don't do well. To them, Winterfell's too south. Yeah. So they just want to go back up north. I think it's one of those things where we have to kind of start getting characters out, and that's a good exit for one that doesn't need to die, So I think we're kind of just...
And they're not loyal to any castle. They don't owe the Winterfell anything or Jon anything.
They were going with Jon just because they respect the hell out of him, basically.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
So, they don't bend the knee. That was the whole point for them. So it's kind of one of those things. And then we see that Ghost is going to go with Tormund. Mm-hmm. Okay?
I think that's awesome, though.
You think that's awesome? Okay.
Yeah. I mean...
What'd you think of that?
Oh, sorry.
I think it was really sad. I think it hurt Jon a lot because he won't have... Snow with him.
He hasn't had Ghost with him much anyways. So
yeah. So that's what's most disappointing to me is, Ghost was pretty well played in like season 2 or 3. Mm-hmm. And then after that, you don't see him for so long. And then now you just get glimpses of him just standing around. We saw him run for a second in the big battle, but I want to see him ripping people's necks out again. He was really awesome for a little bit. But I think if they're not going to actually utilize him, then it's a good way to write him out that he's going to go live north with the wildlings so he can be free to...
This might be right here the happiest endings we get for anybody. Because they're all about to go into another big battle. So these might be the best ways to go.
Yeah.
First complaint, Ghost was way too short. When they showed him walk up next to Tormund, he was big wolf size.
Yeah. My dog.
Horse size.
They're supposed to be, about horse size. That's the size they're supposed to be, the horse. Yeah. And so I was like, okay, that's whatever. But I think there's a lot more to Ghost and all of the actual direwolves. So we'll get to that at the end. I want to talk about that because I think it's actually important that the fact that they're just getting written out. Mm-hmm. Dany and her ships are heading south to Dragonstone. Oh, God, this is heartbreaking. Euron's there waiting for him. Mm-hmm. And he has ballistas on all the ships. And we get that moment where, they're flying well and everything like that. And here comes the ballistas shooting down Rhaegal, 3 shots. And he sinks into the ocean.
Yeah.
We're down to 1 dragon. Daenerys is pissed.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
That's heartbreaking, too, because, that's like anybody who's lost someone in their life, it's like they could probably relate with that scene, how it's everything's beautiful, everything's perfect, and then within like a 5-second scene, the dragon takes 2 arrows, one of the gut, one of the neck, and then it's crashed into the ocean and it's gone forever.
Oh, man, that was rough.
There's no even recovering it, no saying bye to the body or nothing. It's just, nope, done. That child of hers is no longer. Yeah. It's heartbreaking.
Yes. Okay, then all the survivors end up... because what happens is then, when she flies off, she finally does fly off, they turn the ballistas on the other ships, and we see how terrible ballistas are for ships, and just tears through the Targaryen fleet.
The only thing I don't like is they don't necessarily show how they reload those, very clearly, but it's got to be a longer process than they're using.
Yeah, it's Daryl Walking Dead magic.
Yeah.
He has the ability to just put you ready to go again.
Yeah. Because it's a giant crossbow. It's got to take 10 guys turning a knob or turning a lever to...
Yeah, they do have quite a bit of guys wrapped around it, but I want to see them actually like... I've got all the sound effects, guys. This is for your sound effects. We do see the survivors end up washing up on the beach of Dragonstone, except for Missandei, who was captured by Euron in the Iron Fleet. Mm-hmm. Poor Missandei. Yeah. So then we get to Cersei. Yeah, Cersei brings in the presents into the Red Keep. The idea is that if she's going to burn through the castle to get to me, she's got to kill a lot of people. Yeah. She's trying to play to the humanity of Daenerys. And Daenerys is losing to her for man. Yeah. So I think it's a good idea. She ends up telling Euron that the baby's his. Is another thing too, which Euron's of course like, oh yeah. I like what she said. The Lion will control the lands, the Kraken will control the seas, and then our son will control both. And he's on board. Mm-hmm. Do you think he would snap and kill her if he finds out the truth? Like if Jaime comes in and says that baby was mine, and then she like loses it, or he loses it.
I honestly think he's a really dumb character. I think he's super gullible. Yeah. And if he tries to kill her, I mean, she has that dead soldier, the mount. So that guy will snap his neck faster than he can reach for any type of weapon.
Yeah, that's true.
And I just think she's totally using him, as we can obviously tell by his weapons and his ships, and he's able to build these giant, I don't know what you would call it,
those catapult things.
Yeah, catapult things.
Ballistas.
Yeah, like he's able to build that to protect Cersei.
Yeah,
her people could never build anything like that.
Well, her guy's the one that designed it.
Made it actually. Her hand, the guy that always wears the robes.
Oh, like designed it.
Yeah. He's the one that made them. But yeah, even then, and that's the thing too. Again, I don't want to be like the guy who's over in the books, but man, in the books, he's freaking crazy cool. He's one of the cooler characters, and they like really softened him up to where he looks dumb. Yeah, half the time he's just like getting lucky with the situations.
Yeah.
So I don't think he would freak out and kill her because I don't think he's emotional. I don't think anything he's done is emotional reactions. Yeah. He plays it decently, but I think that's just to, kind of put on a show for her kind of thing, show her that he's so passionate for her, I have to have you kind of thing. That's all just a show.
Okay.
He wants to take power. He wants to manipulate her to use her power just like she does him. So I think if anything, if he gets upset or whatever, he'll just do whatever it takes to stay on the right side of power, but I'm sure he'll see at some point like, oh, she's losing, I could just kill her and bring her head to Daenerys and side with that power, or kill her and show Jon that I was behind her just to manipulate her so I could take her out for you and lean that way. Whatever way is going to keep him in a higher point of power, I think.
Yeah. I don't know. I like the way you said he's dumb. I think that might be it. He's not as smart as he should be.
Yeah.
For playing with Cersei's level, you know what I'm saying? She's outthinking him. All right. Then we get to back to Dragonstone. Varys is telling Dany basically after Dany's like angry. Of course she is. Telling him like, look, I don't agree with the way you're doing things. I always told you I'd warn you before I bounce. Mm-hmm. I'm getting close to that. So she's kind of like, okay, yeah, well, I don't matter. It doesn't matter. And that my destiny is to take out all the tyrants, which clearly a very tyrant thing to say. Later on, him and Tyrion are talking, and we're getting this moment where Varys is telling him like, Jon Snow's out there. He's a better king. We could actually just kind of make this happen. Mm-hmm. And Tyrion is like blinded by her. He's like not even when like Varys is like, you've thought about this, and he's like, yeah, I've thought about it, but that's treason. And it's like, okay, first off, you would never care about that normally.
Yeah,
but he is a little bit afraid of her.
Yeah,
he said, a good queen or king inspires a little bit of fear.
Yeah.
So I think he's afraid to even second guess her sometimes now.
Well, even Varys says like, you're afraid of her, and then he pauses before he says that. So it's even like, I am afraid of her, but it's okay that I'm afraid of her.
Yeah, I got to say the right words.
Yeah, and I almost think he's not afraid of her like she'll kill him. I don't think that's the issue at all. I think she's afraid of what she'll do if she loses control. Because then she'll go Mad King. Mm-hmm. Then she'll just burn down all the people. And Tyrion to the core is just a person who's just trying to do decent. Mm-hmm. And one thing the Varys brought up is like, you're drinking a lot more lately. Which, in the crypts, when they were getting attacked, he was pounding it away. That night before, drinking like crazy. I think he's realizing he's losing control of Dany, and he's not able to do his job because Dany's not letting him. Mm-hmm. He's just trying to forget it. So he's just kind of trying to drink through it, you know?
I didn't notice that.
Yeah. So it's getting rough. Jamie decides now, so, everything's going well with the two of them. Jamie decides he's going to leave Winterfell. Yeah. And because he heard about what Cersei's done, so he wants to go back to Cersei. Mm-hmm. Freaking dumb move. Talk about bad move. Why is he doing this?
I don't know. That was heartbreaking, though, because he kind of started this little relationship with Brienne. They just slept together a couple nights, but there was so much hope in there because, and you'd mentioned, I don't know if you mentioned it when we were watching it or afterwards, that he had only slept with his sister. He only slept with Cersei before and never really had any relationships with anybody. But he had a lot of respect for her. The two of them traveled together. They both saved each other's lives at different points. He united her. There's a lot of respect right there. So that's perfect. I wish the two of them could just pick up and go pick a piece of land somewhere and just retire. Don't be a part of this anymore. Take
the Mormont's castle. There's nobody there. Their island's empty. You're welcome to it.
The thing is, though, I don't think Jamie really liked or had feelings for her, because even the way the night that they first were intimate, it wasn't a passionate kiss and that led into the bedroom. It was it's hot in here, I'm gonna take off my shirt. Oh, it's hot in here, you take off your shirt. It was super wasn't romantic at all. He didn't show any romance.
I thought that was kind of romantic, the way he was trying to find an excuse for her to take her clothes off.
Yeah.
Oh, look, my shirt's a little warm. I think it was maybe.
Maybe her way, or her what's the word?
I think neither of them have very much skill in or are very
for flirtatious.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
For Jamie, his romantic life was forced almost.
Yeah.
And her romantic life is none. So they're both kind of preschool on this.
Yeah.
One thing I think is interesting is we've gotten more emotion out of Brienne in the last 3 weeks than we had the entire show.
Goodness, yes.
And when she's crying when he's leaving, I was just how dare you, Jamie?
That's heartbreaking. Right? She was just such a powerful, strong, independent woman, always proving herself more loyal and headstrong than any of our leaders that we've seen who waver at times.
Yeah.
And then this just broke her. She let him.
Almost broke me out.
She trusted him, and
So Dan and Dave, they did say that he's addicted to Cersei. Yeah. And I like that explanation where it's he loves Brienne. And he knows Brienne is his best choice. Mm-hmm. He's going back to Cersei because he feels like she's going to die soon. Even Brienne's saying, they're going to destroy the city. I think it's kind of in the back of everybody's mind is Dany's going to eventually burn down that city and kill everybody. They kind of see the things. Mm-hmm. So he knows it's going to happen. He knows he's about to go die if he goes back to Cersei. But he can't just let her die alone. I think he wants to be there so he could die with her.
He needs to be in that fire with her.
Yeah.
That's a shame. So I'm hoping it's not just that. I hope he realizes that she's an addiction, that he can't control himself with her as an option. So he's going to go there to make sure she is factually dead at the end of this.
I like that. But you know what you're doing right there?
What's that?
You're getting hopeful feelings.
I know.
And that's not how the show works.
Yeah.
Those twins came into this world together. They're going out this world together.
But he is a notorious Kingslayer, so I would love to see him stab her in the back.
2.0.
That'd be cool. Yeah. Bring the crossbow. That'd be great.
That's such a good idea.
There has to be something more behind it, because why would Jamie come up to Winterfell to fight the Night King? Why would he leave Cersei to begin with?
That's because he was trying to be an honorable person. He's trying to fill that white book full of his name, of his deeds. But it was not enough. I know, it's almost a little bit of a gap.
He's still an addict returning to his drug at some point, I guess.
Yeah.
I don't know. We'll see. I'm hoping I'm hoping that's what it's meant to look like from the surface, but he actually had more pure intentions. Because he's changed his character so much. He's gotten so much better than he was at the beginning of the show. So.
That's why I think he's going back out of pure addiction and not happy about it. I think he's I'm slipping again. He's not happy about that.
Yeah.
But, all right, so then we get to Dany and a small emissary. They're going to the gates of Kingslanding. And then Tyrion and Qyburn, they meet up in the middle. They're both hands of the queens for each of their queen. And they start to kind of negotiate. And, Qyburn is just blank in the face. He's I have to say what she told me to say.
Yeah, I'm just a mouthpiece for our queen.
His arrogance or absence of compassion is just dude, I want to knock you out. You're so irritating in a good way. That's how the character's meant to be. And Tyrion, after they do their little speech, Tyrion's look, man, we can stop this right now.
Yeah.
We can save all your people.
Let's just find a way to work this out.
People don't have to waste their fire breath. It'd be nice and easy. And Qyburn's one thing that Qyburn says is your dragon is vulnerable.
Yeah.
Which I think is important later on. I'll mention later on. And then Tyrion walks right past Qyburn, going up, and everybody's notching their arrows, and I thought, this is it. They're going to shoot Tyrion. I'm going to be upset. This is how it's going to go down. No, they didn't. She ends up having to put the notches down, the arrows down. And they talk for a little bit. And Tyrion tries to plead with her because the one thing that Cersei's always been passionate about is her kid, saying, you're going to kill your kid by
your child's going to die within you.
And Cersei, you almost see her, she kind of tears up, she almost breaks. But instead goes over to Missandei, says, it's your time to say the last words. Missandei says, Dracarys, which means fire. It's just like, no, don't say that. We're trying to keep Daenerys chill, and you're just like, burn the city down is what you just told her to do.
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah, and then Robert Strong takes the head off. Yeah. Missandei dies. Grey Worm is shattered. Oh, I didn't care about the relationship this whole time until that moment. I was like, oh man, Grey Worm. That guy's acting like the hell
they
out of
both
that.
Survived the Night King.
Yeah,
like that's a huge battle. Everybody should just forget seriously. Just go retire somewhere. Like live in the North.
Well, that's even what they're kind of saying is like we have the new Prince of Dorne. We have this one. We have everybody's like aligning with us. We just saved the day. Everybody's aligning with us. And then Dany's like, no, as long as Cersei lives, she'll say she's queen of the Seven Kingdoms. Yeah. So it's almost, okay, so that's how the episode ends. Tyrion, I think, at that point, after Missandei says that and that happens, he lost all control he might have had over Dany. Oh, yeah. Daenerys is full on going out there.
I was kind of expecting that he, without her approval, was going to start marching in with the Unsullied that they have there.
Oh, that would be terrible. Yeah. They'd be mowed down so fast.
Yeah. But, I mean, emotionally, if he just started charging, like, hey, we're going to do what we can, but... It's good that they didn't. Yeah,
that would have been a suicide mission.
I really like how they captured Dany's reaction to that when she turned around and started walking away from the castle. Like you could just see the rage in her eyes, and it's just like, oh gosh, something is turning in her head. Yeah. Like she's planning something that is not going to end well.
If they didn't have that new weapon, those ballistas mounted all around the castle, then they would have all been burnt already.
Oh god,
no chance they would have survived.
There's no doubt. So, okay, here's what we can see. Now, it's funny because these are the theories that have been around. These books came out in the 90s. Like, the first book came out in the 90s, right? Mm-hmm. So, the theories have been cooking for a long time. Mm-hmm. And Arya killing the Night King, that's been a theory for a long time. But it's kind of like one of those ones like, yeah, sure, that's where it's going to go. Of all people to kill, it's going to be Arya. We're good. One of the theories has always been, eventually Tyrion's going to kill Dany. Mm-hmm. We're kind of getting ready for that. Like, I could see Tyrion breaking down to a moment where he's just like, she's going to burn them all. And he becomes a Queenslayer. Can you see that happening?
I couldn't see it. I don't think it's in his character to do that. I mean, what would he benefit from?
Saving the people. It's what he did in when Joffrey was ready to just be a dumbass. He stepped up and saved King's Landing, and nobody. It makes too much sense. Yeah. And nobody cared. After that, he ended up getting the scar on his face, and then everybody abandoned him. And he had saved all of King's Landing. That was his life. He kept Castle Rock's plumbing working great. Nobody cared. He could kill the queen and then be called just an imp and a queenslayer and shunned like his brother was. Yeah. Nobody would care. And then he knows, I killed Daenerys. Entire Seven Kingdoms hates me, and yet I saved the day. Yeah, it would be a pretty fitting ending to him.
But so I don't see Daenerys, even if she burns everybody in King's Landing. If she doesn't do it, then I feel like the kind of leader that Cersei is, she's going to do it herself at some point.
That's why Jon and Tyrion are like, just surround the castle. You're good. Yeah. It's gonna go down for her. Like they're gonna have a revolt in there. It's gonna all be destroyed. Yeah. So I don't know. What do you guys think? Do you think we're gonna see Dany flip out and become the new bad, and maybe Tyrion will have to kill her, something like that, or do you see some variation of that?
I mean, if anyone had to kill her, I don't. It would be hard, but I could also see Jon being the one that's forced to kill her in a battle. Like, I mean, that would play on our emotional spectrum much.
What would she do that would make Jon get to that point?
I'd burn that
kill Arya.
Oh, yeah. If he sees that Arya's in there when she's trying to do it, Jon slices the freaking head off.
She's in there to kill Cersei. She comes in, burns Cersei and Arya together, and then Jon's like, oh, hell no. Because he's already seen the distrust in her. He doesn't think this is going to work out. Damn. And sure enough, you're killing everybody, including my family. Lob off her head.
Yeah, I could see that.
And then command the dragon. Command Drogon.
What would Drogon do? Yeah, Drogon will flip out, and then you have to kill Drogon real quick. Maybe Bran will do something finally. That's insane. It would be crazy if this is how it ends, where Daenerys becomes a problem. You have to kill Daenerys. Mm-hmm. I would instantly rewatch the whole series, because then you're like, it's like watching The Prestige and finding out the trick of the Prestige, something like that. Yeah. You rewatch it again, so you're like, oh yeah, she's slipping the whole freaking time. Yeah. I have a feeling the show might be hinting to that ending the whole time. Yeah. And it's depressing.
At one point, I'm pretty sure it's in the show, they talked about not being in the wheel. It was like in season 5, breaking the wheel. Yeah. I have a feeling. I'm pretty sure the Iron Throne is made from dragon's fire, right?
It was made of when Aegon the First came over and conquered. He collected all the stones or the swords of the lords, melted them together with dragon fire.
So it would be a really cool thing to see Drogon burn down that throne, so that she is signifying, I'm not gonna be this same kind of ruler. I'm not taking this throne. I just need to make sure nobody can have this throne anymore.
Yeah, but I think she's starting to become. We're starting to see her slip like Cersei did a long time ago, where she's just like. Only one thing in her mind. Yeah. That's what this story does. That's what Game of Thrones does. Go ahead.
Under Jon's command, burn down the throne. After everyone, she kills Cersei and
It'd be cool to see
Arya.
him say,
he kills her. And then afterwards, he has to come up and kill the last dragon, so that's not a power in the world anymore, too. Yeah. That'd be insane.
One of the things George R. R. Martin had always said is, if you think this is going to be happening, you're not paying attention.
Yeah, that's true.
And so we're sitting here wanting them to get married and have kids. And it's like, no, because he already told us it's not going to happen that way.
Yeah.
The wrong people are going to die. It's going to be a really sad ending. Like, we already know that's going to happen. How bad is it going to be? Is what we're really trying to figure out. So, yeah, I could see maybe Dany. God, man, it sounds nuts, but it might go crazy.
It makes sense.
It really started to make sense.
Yeah.
4 episodes would go before the show started. Be like, no, man, Dany's going to save the day. Night's King's going to be the final bad guy. And we're good,
So what could be worst case scenario? If they're really trying to make us, like, heartbroken.
Cersei wins. I think that might be the case. I think Cersei might win this whole thing.
Think so?
Yeah.
I hope not.
All right. That leads into my big thing that with Ghost, okay?
Okay.
So, if I might cut this out if it's too boring, but I doubt it because I'm pretty excited about it. Okay. Okay. Ghost and all the other dogs, all the other wolves, were discovered, and they were like a metaphor a long time for all the kids. Yeah. Each one of them had a relationship with a kid. That kind of Lady was this nice wolf, and of course that was Sansa's wolf, and she, Arya's wolf wanted to always be roaming around. That's Arya. Each wolf represented each kid. Yeah. Right. And then we were told this whole time to not, and I think they're just meant to look important the whole time. Yeah. They're always there in the midst of things, especially book-wise, they're always in the midst of things.
But they're mostly just symbolism, right?
Right. They've always been kind of symbolisms. Now, we've been repeatedly reminded to not trust our instincts, not trust normal storytelling. So, Red Wedding, Ned Stark, stuff like that, right? And George R. R. Martin, from time to time, again, he's what's called a nihilist. Are you guys familiar with nihilists? They believe that there is no... the idea behind nihilism is that you don't believe that there's morals or good or bad. It's just life is just living it out. Like that's just life. Yeah. You could be the greatest person on earth and get hit by a bus, and then that's nihilistic. That's just how things go, right? Mm-hmm. There's no point to anything. I think the point of the wolves is that there's no point to any of it. Right. I think they're meant to be pointless. All right. Now I got a reason behind this. There's a story, and George R. R. Martin is a very good writer. He has a lot of writing experience. There is a kind of story out there called a shaggy dog story. And what a shaggy dog story is, that's the definition of shaggy dog story is extremely long-winded anecdote characterized by extreme narration of typically irrelevant incidents and terminated by an anticlimax. Now,
it's a long, boring story with no good ending.
Yes. Okay. Ghost is Jon's. Summer, that's Bran's. We have Lady that belongs to Sansa. Nymeria belongs to Arya. Rickon, the kid that died for no reason of all the Stark's kids, what's the name of his dog?
Shaggy Dog.
Shaggy Dog. So George R. R. Martin could have been telling us from the beginning, if you know like how writing works and storytelling, that the wolves are meant to be pointless. Yeah. It's like when you're listening to a story from your grandpa or something like that, and you're like, where's the story going? And then at the end you're like, I don't know what the hell I just learned. I think that it might be almost like a joke in that sense. I think he could be messing with us. This whole Shaggy Dog story, I think he could have put the whole thing into the story right there.
So you think that doesn't just apply to the direwolves, but that'll be the end of the entire series will be that life just goes on.
Cersei might win, and that's just how things happen. Wars go on, and there'll be someone after Cersei that does the same thing. Yeah. This all could just be completely fruitless. Yeah. It's like the end of Sopranos when we see the gunshot, nobody's happy at the finale. We may be encountering that in a few weeks. So I don't know. What do you guys think? You think that's a chance that might all be pointless? Yeah. To teach us a lesson.
The fact that the way the battle worked out, where the big battle with Night King wasn't the end, that kind of got me thrown off because I'm like, what direction is it going to go now? There's kind of loose ends that, I don't know. So yeah, I could see something like that. It would suck, but I could see that happen.
I really hope not.
You almost want it to be something. Like even if the bad guy wins, you want there to be a moral behind it, or like there's a story. But we could just see something where, like, no, it's just life. Life is how it happens, and then we'll get the next chapter. It's like when you're reading a history book, there is no good or bad guy in the gold rush. It's just something that happened.
Yeah.
This could be just something that happened, and it'd be nihilistic, and that's George R. R. Martin's writing style. So we might be depressed here. Really, not depressed. I keep saying depressed, but we might be really, here just real soon. So, and that's actually called it's something I've always kind of thought about, and it's something that back in like late '90s I used to talk about with Rickon, because Rickon was kind of this weird character that was like, why is he a Stark? Why does it matter? Stuff like that. His dog was Shaggy Dog. So like, he's probably a Shaggy Dog story, meaning that he'll ride off into the distance. In the books right now, he's on an island called Skagos with cannibals and unicorns, and Davos is searching for him. It's way cooler in the book than it is in the show where he just dies in the Battle of Bastards. Yeah, it's freaking nuts. Freaking unicorns. It's nuts.
I mean, there's dragons. Why not?
Right. And and the cannibals ride the unicorns too. It's this whole thing.
Yeah.
So, I think the ghost was kind of a symbol of like, hey, this story is not going to go anywhere. You thought Ghost was going to be something this whole time, and then he's just going to go retire to the north. It means nothing.
But I mean, in the books, Ghost plays a lot bigger of a character, right?
I mean, he's in more things, but it doesn't necessarily mean anything.
I mean,
he's just there.
John's right-hand man, right?
Well, yeah, I mean, he's there for more things, but in the end of the book, we could see the same exact thing where John's like, well, that was fun. Why don't you go ahead and head out? And then he just goes and we see him run off into the forest.
Yeah.
We could literally see that because that might have been something that just happens. It might, what we want to see is Ghost. We want to see Ghost fighting, and then all of a sudden John's about to die. Then Ghost tackles the thing that was on him and dies fighting the guy. And then boom, Ghost wins the day and John survives. That would be the ideal way. Or the bad guy way, Cersei kills Ghost somehow.
Yeah.
But I think it might just be that we're good.
Ghost got stabbed, lives 7 more days, but develops an infection and dies in the woods alone.
That might be happening right now. He looked pretty tore up from that battle. So
Yeah.
I don't know. It's something. The Shaggy Dog story is always kind of an interesting idea. It's those long yarns. One of George R. R. Martin's most favorite writers is Mark Twain. He made a few of them.
Yeah.
And so it's kind of like, shit. He might be doing this to us. He might just be just setting us up for failure.
Yeah.
Anyways.
We'll see. Do you think HBO would allow that to happen, though? Do you think HBO would let people be disappointed in one of their shows?
Or Dan and Dave. I don't think Dan and Dave... Well, they have already Sopranos.
Yeah, and people hate them for it, right?
Yeah. But Sopranos is still, But Dan and Dave, I think they've already changed things up. I think Night King was supposed to be the final battle. So they've already changed things up. Maybe they won't, but maybe they kept the Ghost in there as kind of like our little symbol, our little wink at that idea.
I mean, if they play it out well enough, I think it's an interesting plot development that death isn't the bad guy. Death is inevitable.
Right.
But that the living are worse than the dead kind of thing. Like, I could see that.
But even that's a moral. Well. That's what I'm saying is George R. R. Martin is a nihilist to where the fact that even that wouldn't matter.
Yeah.
Like, it would just be that, shit happens. And that's kind of, that could be.
I like how you explain it like a history book. Like, you want to tell history as big peaks of greats and terrible lows, but really it just kind of happened.
Sometimes it was just the Great Depression. It's just an event that happened.
Yeah.
So this could be the time that the Night King came down and was killed, and then everybody died in the end. A couple months later. It could be that way.
Yeah.
All right, so let's get into next week's. Next week's we see the armies are all gathering for the big battle. We only have 2 more episodes, so I assume the big battle will start next week and then finish the week after. We see that Tyrion's starting to look a little afraid of Dany, so there's something there. And then we see the final shot I think is important. You and me kind of talked about this a little bit. Maybe I think you were there too. The ballistas are cocking back. We see Euron look up in the skies. He looks surprised. We're looking at clouds, and we hear a roar of a dragon.
But we don't see a dragon.
All right. Now, I'm thinking it's because they figured it out finally and did the most awesome thing ever, armored Drogon.
Yeah, I could totally see that.
I hope they do that.
Yeah, man.
Because I cannot see another dragon go down.
No, man.
Who would give Cersei that idea? Who would plant that in there? Because, I don't think she would...
Dany. Who would plant Dany?
I'm sorry, yeah. Because... I don't think that's
it's Tyrion. Give Tyrion a break, guys.
Right? Because I don't think that's something she would normally come up with. I would imagine if Mormont hadn't died,
Grey
that would have
Worm
been
is
his.
pissed. I bet Grey Worm would come up with it.
Oh, yeah.
And it would be that black kind of armor like they would wear. Like
unsullied armor.
Yeah. Oh, man, that would look cool. Yeah.
The little helmet where you can only see her his eyes.
Yeah. And his mouth.
You bring up a good point. There is only one dragon left, but dragons can switch sex, so they could have more children still. So
they can lay their own eggs and fertilize them. That's cool.
Yeah.
So hopefully there's some ones in Dragonstone about to hatch.
There's always been rumors that there might be some in Dragonstone. There's actually rumors. There was one. Anyways, it's a long story, but there's rumors that there's some in the crypts of Winterfell. So they always kind of thought there's actually dragon eggs because the crypts of Winterfell have the water system running through the walls to keep the castle warm. It'd be perfect for hibernating eggs.
Yeah.
But yeah. Anyway, so that's going to be next week, and I told you I didn't want to hit an hour at. Just short of an hour. Yeah. All right. I think that's it for you guys.
Yep. Can't wait for the next episode.
All right, guys.
Bye.
Bye.